What's up, folks? Y'all already know it's Big Purr. Got my 9 on ripping the young boy from Cali, the homie. Just to let y'all know, Nick about to bring that blue heat, that ether. So don't be a buster. Go ahead, like and subscribe, and get your notification game right. And share this video with other Panther fans. Now that y'all got some act right, come on in, homies and homettes.
Panther. What it do? It's been a minute, I know. Been going through some things. Pray for you, boy. Job situations, finances, and things like that nature. So just pray for you, boy. But I'm gonna see if I can get you guys more content in a smoother and quicker fashion from here on out. I'm gonna try my best to. If y'all praying right, that can happen. But let's get on with it, man. So, we got 3 wins? How do I feel about that? Well, I will say this. I don't think I ever, in the history of football, right, have seen a team that's losing that looks more like contenders. I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't, just this camera, just one little quick, yeah, like that. But I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen a team that's losing, and with a losing record, look this much like contenders. The way they're losing, is just, it's good losing, it's real tight. Like, we played the Super Bowl champions, and, a few weeks before we played these guys, we were the odds favorite to get mopped. That didn't happen. It was razor thin. It was like a margin, like it was like within the, like, you know what I'm saying? It was a game. It really was a game. And, it's losing you can be proud of, if that's ever a thing. If there's ever a thing of losing that you can be proud of, this is that. I have to say, man, from what I've seen, it feels like, if we had a Derek Brown back with us, if we had a Shaq Thompson back with us, man, and some other key pieces that have been knocked out of the box, I feel like some of these losses, these close losses, would be dubs, and I feel like if all goes well in the offseason, you can't sleep on us next year. I really feel that way. I feel like if all goes well in the offseason, you really can't sleep on us next year. But yeah. And so, to answer the question of this particular video, is the force really with us? I think it is. I think that sitting Bryce was the right thing to do. It goes back to a poem by Langston Hughes called "Live Your Creed." How did it go? Let's see here. This is back from my high school days when I was pledging under our high school fraternity. We had to say this. It's called Live Your Creed. Um, I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one any day. I'd rather someone walk with me than just show me the way. Um, your advice may be misleading, though examples so clear. Um, uh, I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it because right now, I'd rather see a sermon than to hear one any day. I'd rather one to walk with me than just show me the way. The eye is better pupil, more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples always clear. The very best of teachers are the ones who live their creed. For seed to good into action is what everybody needs. I can soon learn to do it if you let me see it done. I can watch your hand in motion, but your tongue too fast may run. And your lecture that you deliver may be very fine and true. I'd rather get my lesson by observing what you do. For I may misunderstand you in the fine advice you give, but there's no misunderstanding how you act and how you live. I'm having a hard time remembering it. I used to have to remember that and say it, you know, from top to bottom. But I'm having a hard time remembering right now. So, but anyway, um, just sitting back and giving him a chance to watch the game and watch how a quarterback is supposed to perform. I think that was a genius idea, and I believe now he's growing into what he's supposed to be. I thought that the game plan was to, um, you know, maybe draft a Shador or somebody that would give him some competition and see who meets the moment. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's the plan right now. I know we will draft a quarterback, but I'm not quite sure it'll be in the first round. Um, and even if we did, I'd be fine with it because I mean, conventionally, you don't do that. Draft a quarterback in the first round when you got a quarterback. But the Falcons did it, and hey, it was a great idea. To let that young man develop behind the Kirk Cousins. And I would be, it would be great for a Cam Ward or a Shador to, because I mean, the fact that we'd have that particular QB, so to speak, combo in the building, you know, we'd have two young bulls developing and being developed by a quarterback whisperer coach. You can't go, you know what I'm saying? You can't really be mad at that. You know what I mean? Like, you really can't be. So, I think we are headed in the right direction. But again, and as far as the offseason goes, if we have a great offseason, I feel like next season, you got to come in respecting us. You got to come in respecting us. And we can't really get into the next offseason until we address some key things in this past offseason. And that being said, there is some smoke. There is some smoke. And out of the smoke, there is an indictment. There is an indictment. Give me 1 second. Gotta change rooms. All right. Panther Indicted court is now in session. I'll take my hat off in the courtroom. Excuse me. Panther Indicted court is in session. No need for nobody to rise. I am the Honorable Judge Nick Hedden. And today we have an indictment. Unfortunately to say, we got an indictment. I like to call to the bench. Excuse me, I have a little sniffle problem. Give me 1 second. Like to call to the bench. One Mr. Dan Morgan. Dan Morgan, you are being indicted today. You are being indicted, and I'm gonna tell you why. You know, and when it comes to judgeships, I as a judge have a duality in the fact that not only am I a judge, I am a called and licensed minister as well. So I cannot be a sinister minister judge. I have to exhibit some type of grace, some type of graciousness. And so what I'm going to do is I want to heap the praise upon your shoulders that, that's due you. I'm going to do that. I'm definitely going to do that. And I'm going to say that I want to thank you for what you did in the off season as it pertains to the investment in the offensive line and what I call the building of the Queen City Imperial Wall. Thank you for that. That's really working out. During this next draft, that has to be bolstered. It has to be bolstered. Not to mention, there needs to be a force just as strong on the opposite side of the ball. That can penetrate offenses in the trenches and that can stop the run, stop it cold. But again, these are things that you need to do in this particular upcoming off season. But again, we can't address this coming off season without looking at this past off season, and particularly, I was cool with, anointing you as the GM. I said, let a dog go get dogs. I'm video documented as saying that. However, your picks are not really what I disagree with per se. I think your pick placement is what I disagree with. And I do have one qualm about one pick. But let's go revisit the first round. Let's just have some common sense. If you have to get back in the first round to draft somebody because you want to get the fifth-year option on that particular individual, I'm not quite sure that you draft a wide receiver. Especially if the only thing you can get is back into the 32nd spot. Because whoever you draft, whoever you're able to draft, is clearly falling to the second. They're clearly falling to the second. And they're most likely falling to the second for a reason. It's simply put, they're falling to second for a reason, so you sneaking back in and trying to pick them at first, let me tell you something, and just because you pick somebody at first does not make them a first rounder. That's just where you messed up and decided to pick them. That's like a president picking somebody unqualified for a captain position. Yeah, that part. Moving right along. You know, they're not the best person for that job. That's just, they happen to get that position because some of the person that picked them. That's it. You know, yeah, I'm hearing. I didn't follow South Carolina like that, SEC like that. I'm hearing that he's long time Mr. Leggett has long time exhibited drop drop habits. And here's the deal about rounds 1 through 3. Your first rounder, hands down, should need very minimal development. You know what I'm saying? When your scouts tell you that this is who we're going with in the first round, that guy should be an instant game changer. He should be able to dress on day one. He should be able to line up on day one. He makes very minimal mistakes. That end zone drop the other day, a true first rounder does not make. By his lonesome, by himself, nobody really impeding upon him. It's not a ball contest. Pause. It's not. There's no double coverage. No. By himself, wide open, a true number 1 first rounder does not make that mistake. So, yeah. So you're being indicted for that. You are being indicted for that. Because my thing is this: if the 32nd person picks that guy, guess what? They're better to have him. Let him be their headache. Let that particular team do all of the developing that they're going to have to do for him. Not us. Not us. Furthermore, second round, you picked someone that was going to be limited in play for this season. And everybody kept saying, "Oh, that's a pick for the future." Not when he can't stay healthy. Not when he can't stay healthy. Because we probably won't see him again next season either. And this is what baffles me. We could have had a hometown story if you would have picked Peyton Wilson. You know what I mean? Hillsborough native, went to NC State. And he has learned how to play without an ACL. What does that mean? That means he can't re-injure that again. Because it's not there for him to re-injure. That you whiff on that and you go get a running back that most definitely not only we're not going to see until over half the season's over with, and can definitely re-injure. And you spend a second round pick on that. Dan, I gotta indict you, man. Like I said, I was totally in favor of you being the GM. But for those two picks, I have to indict you. Going back to the first round, this is And this is where this whole FCS crap really gets my goat. You have a wide receiver in Jalen Coker who went undrafted, who had to fight tooth and nail to get back on the team. And he's outperforming your number one pick, who was assured a spot, all because he's the number one pick. That in itself is an indictment. That's an indictment. If I'm David Tepper and I'm looking at anybody who's remotely close to the hot seat, sir, Dan, it's you, my boy. It's you, my boy. You're not on the hot seat, but if anybody's close to it, it's you. Because if you think about it, if Coker's number one, you look like a genius. If you pick Peyton Wilson number two, or even Trayvon Wallace at number two over a running back that we're not going to see, or even get another edge or something, or a cornerback, whoever, at a number two, you're a genius. And we're probably having a better season. We're most likely having a better season. Or if you would have got somebody, especially with the edge, for that other side, to complement Jadavion Clowney. Dude, you look like a genius. You look like a big bad Brad Holmes in Detroit. Instead of getting today's indictment. So this coming off season, you got to knock it out of the park, dude. You got to do that. You got to beat him. You got to beat him by going and signing him and going and drafting him. You got to beat Himothy, bruh. You got to knock this one out. If you want to retain your GM duties for going into 26, you got to knock this offseason out of the park. I don't know what the cap situation is like right now, but you got to make it work. You know what I'm saying? You got to pull in some superstar types in the offseason, and you got to get an A draft. We got to be a contender next year. We're too close already. We are too close already. We're losing games by the skin of our teeth, by the hair of our, for lack of better terminology, hair of our ball sack. Pause. We're winning games. We're losing games that close. There is no sense in us not having all of the pieces that we need next year, week one, to be contenders. They should be talking about us as a threat. The 31 other teams in the NFL next year should be threatened. But that's all depends on you, sir, making the right moves this offseason to correct the wrongs of last offseason. You got to write them. You got to write them. We know now that you need another running back because this dude we're not going to see. This is what baffles me. Somebody said this was a good pick for the future. What crystal ball were they looking into? Everybody knows how re-injurable an ACL is. How is this a good pick for the future? When you can't depend on his durability for the future. Don't worry, I'll wait. I got a little time today. So yeah, man, whoever that scout that said this was a good future pick, this is what baffles me. Anybody in your scouting department saying that this is a good future pick for anybody needs to get kicked out to the curb on Mint Street. Especially your first year as a GM, this guy's first year as a coach. You got an owner that's known of putting out the trash early. You cannot build for the future. You got to put some stuff in place right now to get to see that future. The majority of what you do right now has to be put in place and has to show itself fruitful to get to a future. So anybody talking, oh, this is for the future. No, you get, they need to get out of here. Because you got to start building your legacy now. Tapper talked about this next coach being the guy that will eulogize him. That starts now. Canales has proven that he's that guy. But he needs you to make the right moves in this offseason to ensure that he does that he's at that podium on that somber day that, the Panthers mourn their second owner. It's not just him calling fantastic plays and whispering to QBs. No, you got to put him in a position to do that. And you have to do that. And that starts by knocking it out the park this year. We play the same amount of games as anybody else. We play the same amount of games as anybody else. And what really kills me is the whole rebuilding, retooling talk. My whole thing is this: we get an off season like everybody else gets an off season. We get a draft like everybody else gets a draft. We got coaches, we got staff like everybody else got coaches and staff. We play the same games as everybody else. So what does that mean? Week 1, we should have the same odds of making it to the mountaintop as everybody else does, with the same amount of games. Will the strength of schedule play to that? Yes, it does. But when you take away strength of schedule and you play in a game in between the lines, well, any given Sunday, anything can go down, anything can happen, anything can shift the momentum in your favor. To somewhat degree, you go and play this game anyway. And what puts you on that mountaintop is a whole list of things. But it starts with your position, Dan. Starts with your position as GM. To get the right people in place and picking the right people at the right times. Making sure that you're number one, that you're getting that fifth year option for, is somebody that you're going to really want to entertain that fifth year option with. That number one should be should not only be a fan favorite, he should remain a fan favorite. That number one should be a Cam Newton. That number one should be a Luke Kuechly. That number one should be a DJ Moore. That number one should be a Shaq Thompson. That number one should be another C-Mac. I remember two of C-Mac's first mistakes. I remember his first two mistakes. He missed a block and he fumbled. After that, C-Mac became C-Mac Truck. after those two situations, C-Mac became C-Mac Truck. Right now, Leggett don't look like he's a true number one. He is going to have to win so many contested matchups, catch so many passes to make people say, okay, in other words, to equate his drops and all the other things to C-Mac's fumble and miss block when he first started. To say, hey, that dude's a true number one pick. Instead of looking like a guy that we just snuck in at the last moment and picked him with our first pick. It's a difference. It's a difference. It's a difference in a true number one draft pick and someone you just happen to be in the first round and you pick them. It's a difference. We need more out of you, Dan. We need more out of you. Because I want you to be here at 26. And I need you to kind of skirt from that hot seat. I don't think you want to be near that. I don't think you want to be near that. But, yeah, man. Again, I'm still in favor of you. Because you a dog, and I know you know how to get dogs. I need you to be able to look these scouts in the face and say, you full of crap. We ain't doing that. You might as well go ahead and start calling somebody else and contact somebody else. We ain't even going to that pro day. This dude is hurt. Do you understand that we're supposed to bank our futures on what we do now? On winning games now? What are you talking about future? You know what? Go clean out your office, whatever. I'll make some calls for you, but no, here is not where I need you, because you're not helping me right now. You're not helping me nor Mr. Canales. That scout should have his. What's the thing you do when they remove the name off of the office door? Yeah, that scout needs to. Especially whoever told you to pick Mr. Brooks at number 2. I don't even know, and I don't know if you can make some calls to find this out. I would talk to some other GMs in the league, and I would evaluate that way, and I would say, hey, listen, Jonathan Brooks, if you guys were to pick him, where would he fit in y'all's regime? And I think this guy might have went undrafted. What's insane to me is you have an undrafted Jalen Coker, and you can put his production up against Leggett and Brooks. And him having to fight tooth and nail to get on this team. And you got 2 other guys that were picked first and second round that were assured spots. I'm done. You got to do better, man. You got to do better. I'm pulling on for you to do better. I'm praying for you to do better. We got to knock this out. You know what I'm saying? We got to come in this next season as contenders. We losing close games now. The additions that you make to this team should make all of that difference. And we should start winning some of these games. We got to do better, Dan. Until next time, Panther Indicted, this your boy Nick Hatton. This has been the Panthers Den. Peace and God bless.
Feel the breeze, yeah. I let the sun just shine on me. I let the sun just shine on me. I let the sun just shine on me, yeah, yeah. Feel it. I let the sun just shine on me.
In a family bound by faith and love, the passing of the patriarch brings them back home where it all began. Meet the Hintons, Lena, the matriarch, and her 7 adult kids, each very different, reunite for the most somber of functions, each one bringing their own dysfunction. The war hero now litigator, the marketing genius, the analytical mind shaping future leaders, the resilient heart still striving to be great after raising 2 kids on her own, the crazy craftsman with a calling to shepherd, the rising legal star, and the star athlete looking for the level playing field to change the game. As they lay to rest one of the roots of their tree, old wounds will open, secrets will surface, and bonds are tested. And buns will be smoked, in a good way and in a not so good way. But this old house of memories, will the buns ever cool? No, seriously. But can they find forgiveness and acceptance to the strength to be a family once again? Will the bonds that were once broken by exposed secrets ever mend? They better, because we know that Papa don't take no mess, but Mama don't either. Papa don't take no mess, Mama don't either. A story celebrating black family, black love, and the black ties that bind. Written by Nicholas Hedden and co-authored by Thomas Hedden. Get it now on Amazon.